Amanda is the next person on the list.
Yeah, Amanda! Nobody wants to be alive without buying a life. How are you? Yeah. Have a good week.
Yeah, see you guys. Take care.
Your name has been called.
Yeah.
It's funny, there's a different Mandy on here. Well, they keep talking about this paper thing, so I guess I'll tell you about it. There's a street paper called Toledo Streets, and it focuses in on homelessness and poverty. And so it advocates regarding those issues, but it also lets people who are experiencing those circumstances to have a small income opportunity by selling the paper. They would buy it for 25 cents and sell it for $1. So I have copies in my car. If you don't make it downtown very often and you don't get to see vendors around, if you want to get some tonight and support the paper, that's great.
How much is it?
It's $1.
Only $1?
It's only $1. So thank you for letting me talk about that. And then Steve's been bugging me to read this, so if you'll excuse me, it's been a couple weeks since I last read it, so I'm a little out of practice, but it's called Other People's Trees. There is a crunchy carpet of oak and maple leaves covering my backyard right now. It's a somber sort of mottled brown flecked with gold and red. The fragrance of dying vegetation is a soft, subtle fog rising up, the ghosts of summer greenness. Yes, it is definitely fall. I both delight in and dread this time of year. I love the color, the turning of the weather, the deepness of October blue in the skies, but I feel the melancholy that dogs me all throughout the year, now gaining on me, threatening to carpet me with jagged edges of guilt, worthlessness, and loneliness. Like the trees, I shed all the brightness I've clothed myself in and stand bare, twisted and bent and gnarled with the roughness of life so far. It's cold and getting colder. And all around me on the ground are the decaying reminders of how temporary happiness is. But wait, I'm painting a picture for you that isn't complete if it stays here in the dyingness of the season. Back to my yard now. Back to the drifts of leaves in my driveway, up against my fence, huddled in the corners, and around the bushes edging my property. I would like to note for you that in all my tiny 1/13 of an acre, I have one small scraggled crab tree with only one saving grace, in that it bursts into glorious purple pink in May. The leaves on this tree are small and fall off much earlier in the season, which begs the question, from whence do these leaves covering my backyard come? Other people's trees. They come on the wind, raining down from trees beyond my borders or somersaulting along the ground. They are drifters, shifting loyalty from one yard to the next, aimlessly pursuing a final resting ground, which of course appears to be my backyard. They pay no attention to boundaries otherwise recognized by citizen and government alike. Most of my neighbors have dutifully herded their leaves to the curb with rakes and leaf blowers and bright blue tarps. Their yards are combed and clipped, as clear from any sign of the season as possible. These neighbors are the responsible ones. Meanwhile, I pull into a littered driveway and stare dejectedly at the mounds of snared in my too-high grass. I feel resentment at this intrusion on my grounds. It's hard enough keeping up with my yard work, weeding, pruning, mowing, without these gate crashers flung out on my lawn. I search myself for the motivation to clean them up. Nope, not there. But I wonder now, why clean them up? Why the need to assert control over the natural untidiness of creation? Why the expectancy from all around to present a false front? For those like me who leave their yards to fate, we are the ones our neighbors look askance at, always with the, why can't you be more like the rest of us in their eyes? Which brings me to myself, and with many with whom I share my life. At first, all is green and full. Then something colors us and forces a transformation. Finally, all that we covered ourselves with falls away, and we find ourselves exposed with our lives scattered wherever they landed. Most of us feel ashamed when this happens. After all, it often requires our family and friends, the ones into whose yards our junk has fallen, to not only see our mess, but to help us clean it up. Or, what may be even a greater service, to sometimes let what has fallen away remain in their yards, to quietly and naturally decay, and to gently celebrate the vulnerability in which we find ourselves, not mocking, not looking away in shared shame, not rushing to futilely pin on false leaves, but seeing us as we are and accepting our twistedness, our roughness. This is, please pardon the pun, the nature of real friendship. To allow others to add disorder to our lives, or to our yards, as they shed what needs shedding. It's an honor, really, to be trusted with the nakedness of another. And it's a heavy responsibility to allow those leaves to lie where they fell, to not distract ourselves away from truly caring for each other by the busyness of cleaning up after them. So here's the rest of the picture to paint for you. Winter will come, and bare trees will sleep cold, but transformed with frost and snow and ice. Under the white, the leaves will decompose, enriching and preparing the soil below. Then the coldness will melt away. Sometimes the ground will still be littered with what's left of autumn's leaves, but the air will warm eventually, and we will see the annual miracle that what fell away before was making room for new growth and new beauty. There is death and life, vulnerability and community, and grace littered all throughout.
Yeah. Very nice. Toward anyone that wants to get one.
Who wants a paper?
I've got a few gold dollars left.
That's very nice writing.
That's very good writing.
Very good writing. Very good. Very good.
Very good. Very good.
The next person on the list is Gary Bond.
Jeez.
Nice start.
Thank you. Nice writing. Very nice.
There's a lot of nice writing going around tonight. I found this, never performed it before. I don't think it's finished, but I got nothing.
Okay.
The tragedy of thee and me. Happily I look upon thee, oh, so happily I see. I belong to my beloved, and my beloved belongs to me. Were it not for the timing of the thing, we would have been perfect for each other. 10 years ago, it was too soon, and now it's too late. Oh, wretched state. I belong to my beloved, and my beloved belongs to me.
Yeah!
Okay, so I was writing this thing on death row, and I didn't get it finished. It's a tandem piece to the piece I'm going to read now. But you're going to have to wait till next week to get the